after a steep decline during the Middle Ages and subsequently in the modern ages. One aspect that stands out is that notwithstanding India's ancient glories, in the 100-odd years that since the establishment of the Nobel Prize in different fields, we have only one Nobel Prize for physics, Sir C.V. Raman, and one for literature, Rabindranath Tagore. Though, I admit there are at least three other Indians who have got Nobel Prizes in different branches of science: Hargobind Khurana, Chandrasekhar, Venki Ramakrishnan. The latter three, however, achieved this distinction while living and working abroad. It is therefore apparent that the momentum that existed during the pre-Vedic, Vedic and post-Vedic periods has been gravely dissipated. On the other hand, during the same period, the West, particularly during the 18th and the 19th and the 20th century, was undergoing a period of scientific effervescence. Several great discoveries were taking place. For example, in 1911, Lord Rutherford had revealed the structure of the atom. Superconductivity was discovered by Onnes in the same year. 1911 also saw the first major conclave of international scientists, the first Solvay Conference, which brought together all the great scientific minds of the era, but no Indian was present there. Einstein, who was yet to propound his theory of relativity, was there. So was Marie Curie. So was Niels Bohr and Heisenberg, all in their 20s and 30s. The first paper on X-ray crystallography by Lawrence Bragg was in 1912. The 2 points I would like you young students to remember from this rigmarole of mine is that India has remained absent for far too long from the more spectacular discoveries of recent centuries. The other is that it is not necessary to be old to get a Nobel Prize or scientific honors of any kind. Many who did were in their 20s or early 30s. It is precisely for this reason that I was greatly excited the other day when I read that one of our compatriots from the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Mohali, a third-year chemistry major student in the integrated bachelor and master's course, is one of those selected to take part in the 63rd meeting of Nobel laureates and students scheduled to be held shortly at Lindau in Germany. Young students, mine is, however, not a counsel of despair, but a wake-up call. I remain convinced that our human resource is as good as it ever was. There may not have been any outstanding discoveries by our scientists comparable to the relativistic kinematics of Albert Einstein. But there have been quite a few achievements to our credit, though quite clearly these are not enough. For example, we can take pride in our contribution to the discovery of the Higgs boson by scientists at CERN, the European Center for Nuclear Research based in Geneva, Switzerland. The Higgs boson has been the holy grail of modern physics of elementary particles in the last 30 years. Next, there have been a number of less remarkable technological achievements in areas such as nuclear and space research, electronics, radiation detection for medical use, etc. Evidently, the money invested in the establishment of new institutions and laboratories, as also on upgrading research facilities in universities, are beginning to yield results. There is a return on investment that we are now beginning to see. This is a good year to recall what we have achieved. I have, on one or two other occasions, referred to 2013 as the year of science, coinciding as it does with the centenary year of the Indian Science Congress. I'm hopeful that people will remember this year essentially as a launching pad of India's efforts to overtake countries like the United States, China, South Korea, Japan, France, and the United Kingdom, who are among the world leaders today in terms of new discoveries and patents. I'm equally hopeful that this year will be the one in which we stop lamenting that we have been surpassed by China, repeating ad nauseum that China spends several times more than India on scientific research. Instead, I hope and believe that 2013 will be viewed as the year we got down to work, based on specific plans to achieve excellence in every field of scientific endeavor. Similarly, I hope 2013 and the coming years will accentuate the positive as far as our system of education is concerned, and address the dearth of good scientists by attracting many more young people to take up science as a career. If this happens, and some of this is already happening, results should become apparent in the near future. Members of the audience, you might well wonder, why am I being so optimistic? Let me state the reasons. First and foremost, the quality of many of our existing scientific institutions and the Indian Institutes of Science, Education and Research are among the top flight of such institutions is much better than is generally perceived. It depends on the quality of students who flock to these institutions and the kind of freedom we provide them in pursuing scientific research. Both aspects are showing demonstrable improvement in recent years. Second, it is today evident that we possess not only a reservoir of talent, but that there is also a great deal of pride among various sections, both urban and rural, about our scientific progress and achievements, as also our country's future. Third, even as the world is beginning to recognize India's capabilities as a knowledge-based economy, several major steps are being taken by India to improve the quality of education. This is now accepted as essential to achieve real empowerment. Central to this, and I like to repeat this, central to this is a recognition that institutions imparting teaching in science, engineering, and technology are the new temples of learning that will help lead India to a better world. Fourth, there is now increased emphasis among those graduating from our universities on the importance of research and relative developments. This has coincided with a period when there is no dearth of money. I repeat it, there is no dearth of money for funding such research or establishing new state-of-the-art laboratories. Leading the charge in this respect are none other than the Prime Minister and the President of the country, who are showing us the way. All this is beginning to produce the desired results. Fifth, we have numerous examples before us of how we are capable of producing world-class results. I shall here mention only two examples, one regarding nuclear science and the other regarding space. In both, we are amongst the world leaders. In both fields, we have some of the most outstanding and best scientists. Let me try and amplify this. In the field of nuclear science, we have progressed tremendously, both from the point of view of peaceful as also strategic purposes. Nuclear power is an important component of our future energy needs. Accelerators and research and power reactors are now designed and built indigenously. Our nuclear scientists have progressed from boiling water type reactors of the 60s and the 70s, Tarapur in Maharashtra and Rawat Bhatta in Rajasthan, to pressurized heavy water reactors which utilize natural uranium in a closed fuel cycle. We have the capability to build nuclear reactors ranging from 220 megawatts to 740 megawatts to 1,000 megawatts. We are currently in the process of building 2 light water reactors. Our pioneers and leaders in fast breeder technology, and we expect to move towards advanced heavy water reactors using uranium-233 as fuel derived from thorium in the not-too-distant future. In the strategic area, we are on course to establish a nuclear triad, having developed land-based, air and underwater capabilities. This will ensure us our security and protect the country from any hostile nuclear power. At the same time, we remain committed to a policy of no first use and also favor universal nuclear disarmament. if other nuclear powers are willing to accept such a promise. In the area of space and space research, we have made similarly remarkable strides, moving from the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, the PSLV, to the Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle, the ASLV, to the Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle, the GSLV, capable of putting 2,000 kilogram satellites in space. We are among the world leaders. We have made rapid advances in terms of remote sensing techniques and have been commercially successful using our launch vehicles to put smaller satellites belonging to other countries into space. We have very recently moved towards having our own dedicated navigation satellite system comparable to the GPS of the United States and GLONASS of Russia. The Chandrayaan mission to the Moon and the Mars mission have established our credentials as a space power. Another reason why I sound upbeat, and I really am upbeat, is the effort presently going into strengthening and improving our training and research capability in science and technology. To buttress the efforts of our universities, which were seen to be inadequate, the government has taken a decision, as the director said just now, to improve both training and research facilities by expanding the scope and infrastructure for science, education, and scientific research. These include the establishment of 5 new Indian Institutes of Science, Education, and Research, a significant step in this direction. IISR Kolkata is one such, having been established in 2006, and I need not repeat because what was been happening here since the director has mentioned this. Next, the setting up of several other state-of-the-art institutions and laboratories. This has been backed by a new Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, STIP 2013, which was announced at the centenary session of the Indian Science Congress held here in Kolkata in January this year. STIP aspires to position India among the top 5 scientific powers by the year 2020, an ambitious goal but within our capability. It aims to produce and nurture talent in science, stimulate research in our universities and in our laboratories, develop young leaders in the field of science, reward performance with incentives, etc. It also seeks to create a policy environment for greater private sector participation in research and forge international alliances and collaboration to meet the national agenda. What a remarkable opportunity offers the young students. Under the 12th five-year plan, a vastly enhanced capital outlay for research in science and technology has been announced. Expenditure in this sector has been almost tripled from around 33,000 crores in the 11th plan to around 90,000 crores in the 12th five-year plan. It is intended to also raise the allocation for science from less than 1% to 2% of the GDP, bringing us on par with China. In addition, fresh opportunities have arisen with the establishment of the National Science and Engineering Research Board. This will act as an autonomous funding body, investing in research of proven track records. It will establish about 200 to 250 centers based on a grant model with performance reward linkages. Furthermore, launching of the Innovation in Science Pursuit for Inspired Research, the INSPIRE program, involving 3.5 lakh students in the age group of 10 to 27. Grants would be handed out to science students at every high school of the nation to help build a cadre of top-notch researchers inspired to join science at a very young age. The 12th five-year plan has also proposed a number of other initiatives over and above a significant rise in fund allocation for science and technology. There is the creation of major national facilities under partnerships, for one. For another, there is a program of enhanced center-state partnership. The underlying intention is to try and attain the goal envisioned in the Indian science mission, to enable India to emerge as a global leader by strengthening human and institutional capacities. There are other positive developments as well. New programs such as the Monsoon Mission by the Ministry of Earth Services, a state-of-the-art earthquake study in some of the worst earthquake-prone regions of the country, a Northeast Center for Technology Application and Research, research in Himalayan glaciology, constitution of innovation complexes with world-class facilities in partnership with industry. Alongside upgraded R&D in our universities, the scientific landscape of our country is therefore poised to alter fundamentally. Where at what time in our history were so many opportunities available? These were not available when your director or even any of your former directors were looking for jobs and opportunities. Consequently, for you young graduates, immense opportunities have become available and a very bright future awaits you. I'm not saying this like any politician or others. I mean it. I've been in government for 60 years by now. As graduates of the IISER, you are amongst the best and the brightest that India has to offer. The world remains open for you to embrace change and seek opportunity. For you, the world is an oyster from which to choose many pearls. Think well and put both your character and your training to the best possible use. You have an excellent chance and a great opportunity to do so. Finally, as you attempt to accomplish what you set out to achieve, the greatest challenge you would face as young scientists and researchers is that money is not the sole reason for success in making earth-shaking discoveries. Across the world, the vast majority of discoveries have been achieved through shoestring budgets. Again, please remember that partnership between scientists, institutions, and government must be open, for science is an open enterprise. Further, as products of an ancient civilization and inheritors of a great legacy, always keep in mind the ethics of what you are engaged in. Never lose sight of the fact that science must be mobilized locally and globally to address the enormous problems that affect the general public, such as poverty, health, climate, agricultural productivity, etc. Finally, as you walk out of this building, walk out of the portals of the IISER, as the brightest products of our age, never forget that the credibility of your actions will define the measure of the civilization that you are heirs to. Go forth, win the world, and emerge victorious. Thank you.